MTN SME Hub. Link to growth. Link to success. Link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show. In studio with us today, we've got Michael Vorster. He's MD of CBX Tech. They're a fast-growing business with all the pains and excitement of a fast-growing business. And Michael, the question you ask is such an apt question because most businesses don't have the courage at this point to actually implement it. And that's why I was testing for that, because very often what happens in this kind of environment, the moment you start putting in anything where people are measured, people resist that. And so normally the senior management then retracts and lets it go. And then statistically, that you've got a very high likelihood of actually failing because you're scaling, not because of anything else. If you had stayed at this level and didn't grow anymore, you'd be fine. But as you scale, you have much higher levels of complexity that start to emerge. The fact that your business is also in multiple geographies makes it even more complex because culture is subtly different, not just within departments, but within geographical regions. The way people work, the way people handle relationships with clients is different. Everything is subtle, and you sit there at the top trying to go, okay, I need to understand the nuance here and here and here and here. And then when you try and put it in a management system like you're talking about, where you're trying to manage all this, you have to take into consideration all these things. So let's start off with something I speak about often, which is the king and the queen. Okay, I want to conceptually break this down for you. King is strategy, queen is operations. 99% of businesses in your position are very good at queen stuff. They're good operationally. If they get the order, they'll get it out. They give great turnaround. But from a king perspective, from a strategic perspective, they're very, very weak. And so the often used war cry of the operations people is, well, what do you want me to do? The client is screaming, do you want me to do that, build that strategic stuff, or do you want me to do this now? And you as MD are going to go, of course, the client screaming, go deal with the client, right? Help them first, right? And so you never get to building the business, and it lands up in those three people, as you said, who are trying. But to be honest, you're probably not doing enough. So you're probably getting to a point where the business requires all that SOPs, the process, the systems, the IT systems, the management systems, all that. But there's just no time to implement it because you're so operationally focused. And it's at that point that businesses implode on themselves. There's a saying that more businesses die from indigestion, i.e. growth, than from starvation, i.e. the lack of growth. And you're in that classic situation. So first of all, you have to understand, you have to split the king and the queen. And now it's time to give the king a place at the table where the king with strategy, which is the building of the business, needs to take a little bit more dominance in your day-to-day activity. Now let's come to the performance. Now we use a performance measurement called ISP 3+1, which is Individual Success Plan 3+1. Whether it's a KPI, ISP, neither here nor there. But what's very important here in the ISP process is that you've got, it gives a reference to the king, i.e. what have you built for the business, and to the queen, what have you done that's within your job description. So the one is, what are the strategic objectives that you've built? What are the things that you've built out? The creation of new king. And what is more of the same, i.e. targets? This is your job that you've got to do. So you have to produce 100 units, 99% uptime, all these other things, these are all these metrics. That's all queen stuff. What have you built in terms of a new SOP, a new website, a new piece of software, a new app, a new all that? That's what's going to take the business to the next level. So in every individual, each individual has got a requirement to have a balance between the king and the queen. At an organizational level, you should sit at, and I'm going to use 45% because the other 10% is for two other things, which I won't go into now, but let's call it 50-50. At an organization, when it's growing, the overall organization has to be at 50-50. But at individual, some people can't build and some people build very well. So your role then is to make sure that you're balancing the business away from being queen dominant to being balanced as an organization. Now, strategy is executed through departments, strategy is executed through departments, strategy is executed through departments. That's why I kept asking you about departments. If you are not setting up your departments, and what it sounds like is you're tripping over department division. So think of a department it provides a service into the business, marketing, finance, etc. Divisions provide a service into a client base. It's a certain thing to a client. So you could have multiple divisions with all your departments serving internally to all those. Marketing would service all your divisions. Finance would service all the divisions. Operations would service all the divisions. There can be subtle nuances in each division around those things, but they serve this way into the business with divisions outside. So I said strategies execute through departments. It's this way that you're trying to build that out. And you're quite in a normal situation where the term is surrogacy, where somebody is sitting as the head of a department, but also in surrogacy for the head of another department as also there. So the big thing now is to put in these measures. King stuff, which is what are you going to build for me? And queen stuff, what are you doing that's related to your job description?
Sure.
Okay. And that goes into you, the head of department, you, the head of department, you, the head of department. Okay. So that is a critical thing. How often do you measure? The ideal state is once you contract with each individual, king and queen, that you contract them quarterly and you measure them quarterly. And you take the average of the 4 measurement scores, and that is used as one number, okay, your ISP number, your KPI number, as an input into their bonuses and into their increases. The same number. So you're not duplicating work. You're saying if you're getting a 4 out of 5 and a 4 out of 5 is 80%, that you sit in this quartile for this, so in this number at a 4, you're going to have a 5.5% increase this year. But a 4 also says that you're going to get 80% of the available bonus that is allocated to your role. So that whole ISP is so rich because it's got king and queen in it. It's measured 4 times a year. That means somebody gets an opportunity to fix themselves for the other 3. You can have tough conversations, and it's used from an efficiency point of view. It's one number that measures increases and bonuses. And the last quick thing in less than in 30 seconds here, in your training needs to be broken down into 3 levels. Company, which it's great that you're doing. Department, how the department works, and then how that role works. And within that, in that role, you might need to know product.
Yes.
So you've got to be thinking, once you start thinking department in the true way of department, it gives you the mechanism to hold heads of department accountable to deliver on strategy and deliver on targets. That's a lot of information that I've shoved into 8 minutes. Maybe you want to watch this all again. I hope it's given you something to think about.
It's definitely given me something to think about. Thank you.
Great. And I hope it's given you something to think about. And do remember, as I ask you every week, or say to you every week, if you think it, write it down and make it a reality.
The Big Small Business Show, proudly sponsored by MTN Business.